Morning everybody, and welcome to the ThePackHub's Sustainable Packaging Review webinar. My name is Paul Jenkins. I'm Managing Director of a UK packaging consultancy, ThePackHub. I'm joined today by my colleague and Technical Director, Barrington Pamplin, who will be looking at all the questions and collating them towards the end of the session. So what have we got covered for you over the next 50 minutes or so? The first thing we'll do is give you a short introduction to the ThePackHub and our Innovation Zone packaging database. We'll then have a look at the sustainable packaging trends. We'll then focus on 20 sustainable packaging innovations we think you should know that we've tracked over the last 4 weeks since our last webinar last month. We'll then have a summary and, as I said, an opportunity for Q&A. We do have 3 interactive polls, one coming up just shortly, and we'll also have a little bit at the end about a special offer and obviously details of our next webinar. You will get a link to this webinar recording post-event as per previous recordings. So the first poll, what I'd like to do is find out a little bit about you. So just launching now, hopefully you can see that. So we'd like to know what is your work? So are you a brand retailer, brand owner, retailer, packaging supplier, etc. And the second part of the question is, what industry are you in? So it looks like the vast majority of you have taken the opportunity to vote. Thank you very much. So just give the last few people an opportunity to vote. It looks like that might be it. We have had some problems with displaying the results, so I am going to read them in case you can't see. So in terms of where you work, 24% brand owners, 9% retailers, 31% packaging suppliers, nearly 20% consultancy, are the main areas. And in terms of what industry you're in, food is the largest sector with nearly 1/3, followed by beverage, and multi-product actually is also 30%. So we will be publishing these results if you're interested as part of the outputs of the, excuse me, the webinar. Excuse me, I can assure you that isn't COVID-19 back off. Okay, so in terms of the ThePackHub, let my machines catch up. So with 4 areas of consultancy that we offer, most will be familiar. So we offer technical support and project management. So if you ever need, have a technical challenge, Barrington and his team can certainly help you with that. We do events where we're obviously allowed. We were due to do a brand owner and retailer summit last month. Clearly, with COVID-19, no face-to-face events are allowed, hence the increase in webinars. So we hope to be back with face-to-face events as soon as we are allowed. We also do reports. So our last publication was Sustainable Packaging Compendium, launched this year. We've also done reports on general packaging innovation trends and supply guide as well. So we continue to generate reports in those areas. And the final area is sort of insight and trends. And our main product is our ThePackHub Innovation Zone database, which is a searchable and easy to use innovation database. Just reached 4,000 packaging initiatives loaded. We update around 20 new innovations every week, and these are from concept to in-market launch. So it's things like university developments through to things you would see on a supermarket shelf. A great way to keep teams up to speed and get inspired and to generate ideas. If you'd like a short online demo, please email paul@thepackup.com and we can arrange that for you. Enough about the ThePackHub. whenever you do any innovation, I guess in any industry, not just packaging, inevitably COVID-19 and the impact of a global pandemic surfaces and needs to be discussed. So we have covered this over the last 2 or 3 webinars, so we're going to do it slightly differently. But I think it's important to sort of acknowledge some areas that are changing or have changed. I mean, no one really knows for sure the total impact of what a pandemic will have on packaging innovation, but clearly most of the impact is negative. You just got to look at the UK announcement about the economy being down something like 20% in a month to know that clearly COVID-19 is having an impact just in every industry. And things like single-use plastic is having a little bit of a renaissance. Obviously, it's been used a lot in saving and helping people in the health sector. And I think that's given a little bit of sort of positive PR to the quite negative sort of messaging that the plastic has had over the last 18 months or so. So it's a little bit of a shot in the arm as a positive in terms of what single-use plastic can do as a positive. Certainly more of a hygiene focus at the moment, as consumers rightly or wrongly concerned about their packaging perhaps passing on various diseases, and we've seen, obviously including COVID-19, and we have seen some introductions recently that have antimicrobial properties to sort of piggyback on that sort of that concern that is being noted around the world. Really, it'd be interesting to know when COVID-19 is finally over, will there continue to be sort of a heightened hygiene focus from shoppers and consumers. Things like reusable bags have been banned in a number of sectors, sort of going full circle really, back to single-use bags at the moment. Shoppers have had to sort of change their behaviour over the last 12 months to adapt to reusable bags. They're now being forced to purchase single-use bags again. What will the impact of that be when COVID-19 is over? So interesting to see. And things like reusable bottles as well that were banned before the coffee shop closures. Coffee shops are starting to reopen around the world. Be interesting to see. They're certainly not allowing them in many places still. So what will be the impact of those going forward? We're seeing packaging free, more packaging free items in shops over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. Fruit and veg aisle being a good example. You know, some shops are now rejecting that due to again the lack of perceived hygiene. So what impact will that have? Shop behaviour is changing. Supermarkets, I think Tesco in the UK have reported the doubling of online deliveries and the return to weekly shops. Again, that's having an impact on packaging. Product ranges have been rationalised, but the world hasn't stopped. So, you know, again, using Tesco as an example, they did have 60 types of sausages, and they really rationalised that range just to reduce the complexity in the supply chain. So they can. About a month ago, we obviously had lots of challenges with getting products on shelves and panic buying in that. So ranges have reduced. I'm not aware that they've gone back to pre-COVID-19 levels. Maybe there'd be some sort of some adjustment going forward. Who could tell? The refillable market is vulnerable in these times. You think about the hardware required, lots of multi-touching and lots of cleaning are required. So the lack of packaging may also be a concern, ironically, to consumers. Perhaps recycling is not a priority. There was talk of corrugating glass shortages as consumers were unable to recycle their products, their packaging, and also recycling centres were closed. They're starting to reopen again. Much more focus on the e-commerce channel, and we're starting to see tamper-proofing coming back into vogue as well. So quite a lot of things happening around COVID-19 and packaging innovation and sustainable packaging. So is the innovation funnel sort of stalling? You know, we're certainly reports of when talking to clients and colleagues, many projects have been parked or cancelled. Lots of employees have been furloughed, so not in their existing roles at the moment. Retail outlets are closed, so there's clearly a lot of things that may have been introduced in the summer months that are not at the moment. A change of priorities for businesses, certainly within the innovation zone, so we're constantly looking on the lookout for new sustainable and other packaging innovations. We are definitely tracking fewer innovations coming through the pipeline. We do have 20 new ones from last time, but it's definitely been a reduction in the number of innovations coming through at the moment. Will there be a backlog? Will we suddenly see October, November time when hopefully things start to be a little bit more normal? Will we suddenly see an influx of new innovations? It would be encouraging if that is the case. And also, what will be the impact of potentially lengthy social distancing have on product choice and innovation? So the second poll is around COVID-19. So what we'd like to know is how has innovation in your business been affected by COVID-19? So either you're doing more, no real change, doing less, or you can't answer. And the second part to this question is, how will innovation be in your business once the pandemic is over? The choices are businesses before, some change, lots of change, or you can't answer. So we have asked similar type of questions as before, and it's quite interesting in terms of the spread of answers, really. So most of you have had the opportunity to vote, so I'm just going to end calling and share the results. Again, I'm not sure if you can see this, but so I will read them out for you. So how has innovation in your business been affected by COVID-19? 19% saying we're doing more, 39% no real change, and 25% saying we're doing less. So that would slightly contrary to the statement I made earlier about fewer packaging innovations coming through the pipeline. And how will innovation be in your business once the pandemic is over? 21% business as usual, 45% some change, 18% say lots of change. So there we go. So in terms of the sustainable packaging trends, what we do always before we go through the 20 innovations is just very quickly review what the 7 sort of sustainable packaging trend areas are. So the first one is compostable and biodegradable. The first thing to also note is that these innovations aren't mutually exclusive, so you can have a compostable and biodegradable innovation that's also recyclable or carbon friendly or whatever, so that they can fit into more than one category. So the last three years or so has seen a lot of change in terms of compostable biodegradable packaging, lots of challenger brands working in this space, certainly confusion in terms of, from a consumer point of view, in terms of end of life, in terms of industrial composting, home composting, and what that comes about. So not a perfect situation. Some retailers saying they don't want any compostable packaging in their supply chain, but we're certainly going to continue to see a number of innovations coming through the pipeline. Biomaterials is another big area of development, and a whole raft of different materials sort of coming through: tomato fibre, whey, banana stem, shrimp, bamboo, pasta waste, sugar cane, mushroom tissue, coffee waste. Lots of different developments. A lot of these are still in the university type development work, so not necessarily come through the supermarket shelves. And we haven't seen many big brands operating in this area yet, but it's certainly an area of significant development and worthy of discussion. Recycling, clearly no sustainable packaging presentation can be presented without having a discussion about recycling. Multifaceted, it's about increasing the instances of recycling as well as increasing recycled content. Packaging taxes are coming in that promote and encourage the increased amount of recycled content in packaging, which is obviously driving change. Reusable and refillable packaging, another big area, and no presentation would be complete without showing some examples. We've got some of those to show in a moment. As I mentioned, COVID-19 having a little bit of impact in terms of the hygiene element to reusable and refillable packaging. Three more, so carbon concerns, and this is, in the old days, this was about lightweighting and reducing pack weight, but it's much more about how reducing carbon footprint for the whole supply chain in terms of its impact. We don't track everyone because some innovations are lightweighted and they don't tell the world, they slip under the wire, so to speak. And this really has been about cost saving as well as environmental benefits. Interesting, really, in terms of, certainly in years gone by, packaging weight has essentially been a proxy for quality. So the lighter a product is, although better for the environment, may have a negative association with product quality, potentially. Reducing waste, so this is about activities that increase shelf life in terms of improving the environment. And last but not least, and the biggest area, and certainly the most dominant one in terms of the 20 innovations that we're going to cover in a moment, is plastic elimination or reduction. So a significant area of change, really since the sort of Blue Planet 2 program in October 2017, that really led to a sort of a cascade of activity from brands, retailers and suppliers in this area. So 20 innovations that we think you should know. And these are all sustainable ones and have all been tracked in the last 4 weeks since we last did this type of webinar. As before, these aren't an endorsement of best practice. I think it's important to reflect what is going on. Sustainability in packaging can be subjective. You can build arguments for each innovation to say, yes, that is definitely more environmentally friendly, or I don't think that is the best route. What we're acknowledging is what's going on in the market. So these aren't handpicked to be best in class examples, but just a reflection on what's going on in the market. So the first one to talk about is from Nestlé. The world's largest food and beverage company is like many big brands, committed to making their packaging recyclable, reusable, 100% recyclable, reusable by 2025, and has declared that the smartest brand sharing block is now being rolled out in paper wrapper. This is a significant move for the brand owner as it shifts towards reducing its impact on the environment through switching to paper packaging where possible and appropriate. You may have seen, and we certainly reported it through the social media channels, their Yes brand, which is a snack bar wrapper, again composed of paper and a water-based coating, which was launched last October, I believe. The paper substrate is capable of being used on a wide scale, high-speed production lines, previously designated for Nestlé's plastic or laminate packaging. You'll notice very significant sort of branding on the pack. This has certainly been a change over the last couple of years as brand owners recognise there's a real opportunity to communicate to shoppers and consumers that they're doing something more environmental. So we're communicating that the pack is paper and recyclable. So that's something we wouldn't have necessarily seen 2 or 3 years ago. The next innovation is from UPM Raflatac. It's they're one of the signatories of the Ellen MacArthur New Plastic Economy, like many suppliers. They've worked with chemical heavyweights Dow to launch a new bioplastic label film for the packaging and labelling industries. The launch of Forest Film PE is understood to be the first wood-based PE label film on the market. 100% wood residue-based raw material, BioVerno, is used, which is processed by Dow into bio-based plastic granules for label film extrusion. The new bio-based PE film label material helps reduce the reliance on fossil fuels and has the same performance as those fossil-derived ones. Now, I mentioned compostable and biodegradable packaging as part of the trends, and here's an example of that. So this is Italy-based Gruppo Fabri, and they're a leading business in the manufacturing of machines and films for fresh food packaging. The business has responded to ongoing demands for sustainable packaging through a new compostable film. The solution has been brought to market in collaboration with French fruit wholesale business Mayfruits. I think I'm probably calling attempt at French there, apologies. The biodegradable offering delivers the familiar functional, physical and visual aspects of conventional plastic in terms of transparency, elasticity and breathability. They're currently testing the Nature Fresh on the French market. Over 3 million trays have already been packed, and Nature Fresh will place the equivalent of 40 tons of plastic film per year. Now, this particular visual doesn't have any indication at all about what the consumer should do with the, is it home compostable, is it industrial compostable, do they recycle it? So the industry isn't perfect yet in terms of properly communicating what should be done with that material post-use. Now, this is a hand brand. Again, apologies for my lack of French pronunciation. Madrange. The new packaging solution is reported to contain 70% less plastic than its previous incarnation. The thermoformed trays contain more than 80% paper content created from a combination of both virgin fibre and FSC derived forest paper. Lots of research and development went into to overcome the technical challenges that delivering a paper-based thermoformed solution would entail. The lower part of the pack is 81% paper. The rest is plastic, which provides a barrier as well as supporting the thermoforming of the paper and sealing with the upper film. The lower tray is completely recyclable. It is reported that in total 85% of the packaging is now recyclable. And they're keen to point out that no price increase will be passed on to consumers, which implies that this packaging material certainly costs them more to produce than the previous one. Now, the cannabis industry has grown significantly in those markets where either recreational or medicinal usage is now permitted, obviously North America being a good example. The industry is reported to generate large amounts of plant waste as a necessary part of the harvesting process. And Canada-based Maharam Ventures has developed a means of putting the waste to good use. Now, we spoke at the beginning about biomaterial development. I didn't mention residue, but here it is. Their truly green plastic solution uses cannabis plant waste to create biodegradable, bio-based polymers with various potential applications in both packaging and beyond. They're working with Lambton College, which are an Ontario-based Canadian business, to help develop the initiative. They're still really testing the mechanical properties of the polymer derived from the cannabis waste to assess all potential applications. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are tracking innovations that are still really at the development stage. There's every chance that this may not come to market in its current form, but I think it's important to acknowledge what's going on, and in 2 or 3 weeks' time you might see this in the market and you think, oh yeah, I know where I saw that first. Now, another sort of plastic reduction initiative is from the German poultry market. It sees an introduction of a new reduced plastic pack. This is the first German poultry supplier to introduce the Halo pack, which we have reported on before in the innovation zone. The inert gas packaging solution comes via Netherlands-based Schumacher Packaging. The producer and supplier for poultry meat has replaced the plastic trays. The gas-tight MAP solution helps to extend the shelf life of the fresh meat. The hybrid packaging consists of a cardboard tray that is lined with a thin glass type plastic film. The concept reduces plastic content by around 80%. The back material is fully recyclable. The cardboard tray is 100% recyclable and simply goes into the waste paper, and the film can also be recycled where available. The packaging technology to introduce the new packs does not need to be changed, and Schumacher Packaging Group anticipates making up to 30 million trays per year across their complete customer portfolio using 2 machines, so a significant change there. Roberts Packaging is a Nottingham-based, I think, plastic and rigid box packaging design and manufacturing business. They've announced the development of a new herb and spice packaging made with 30% recycled material. I mentioned, I said at the beginning about the drive to increase recycled content. This is bang on the money in terms of being 30%, which would not fall foul of the packaging taxes, which come in, I think, in April 2022 in the UK. The Robbins Packaging has produced the 100ml PET jar. Great. Rpet, the herbs and spices packaging comes with a range of Rpet closures as well, including a twin flip aluminium cap and a grinder format, all recyclable. Now, Stockholm-based freeform packaging, we've tracked this business before. They've got a formable paper solution that incorporates a complete inline form, fill, seal system. We previously tracked an innovation of theirs, but the business has made a significant step forward with the introduction of a pack with high barrier properties. A thin layer has been incorporated to protect the packaging's it has been incorporated to protect the packaging's contents against oxygen transition. Up to now, the freeform solution has only been available as a non-barrier solution. So this is a bit of a game changer for freeform in being able to offer a better barrier. A thin layer of EVOH gives the packaging extra protection against outside oxygen transition. Now, this is from cosmetic packaging experts out there. They have produced a new packaging innovation for L'Oreal's La Roche-Posay sunscreen product. We first tracked the development of this particular innovation in October last year, where it was a sort of generic sort of design without sort of being assigned to a brand. At the time, they promised to get something into market in the second quarter of this year, and true to their word, that is what's been achieved. So this is a paper-based tube that possesses 45% less plastic than conventional tubes. It is claimed that the launch of the sunscreen tubes incorporating cardboard reduces the environmental footprint of the overall packaging, with a life cycle analysis showing that the new skincare brand has the lowest carbon footprint in its category. They are able to maintain barrier performance even through the removal of the aluminium. It is planned to make the switch to other products in the portfolio. And the change would see a reduction of 10,000 tonnes of virgin resin usage. So this is not about recycling, this is about purely about reducing the amount of plastic used in packaging. And another one of a very similar note, but it really reflecting that, you know, this is quite a big area of development. So this is from Japan, global print business Toppen, a new tube container This has reduced the amount of plastic by 50% compared to conventional laminated tubes, typically used for applications such as toothpaste. The overall thickness of the new tube is 1/3 of the typical laminated version. The significant changes from 0.3 mil to 0.1, and it's been achieved through the use of paper that's been reduced the amount of plastic, as I said, by 50%. Toppen has also reduced plastic parts in the tube's head to deliver another significant reduction of plastic by 65%. They're also making a sort of a functional advantage to this. So by utilising the stiffness of the paper, a firm pack shape can be maintained when the content decreases. This means the folding of the paper-based pack reduces elasticity, apparently making the contents easier to squeeze than conventional laminated tubes. So they are making as I say, a functional advantage from the change as well. So it's also easier to squeeze the contents to the end compared to regular laminated tube, so presumably reducing product waste as well. Cavaris has been on the innovation trail again. We've tracked several entries in our innovation zone over the last few years. The business has announced the introduction of an initiative that improves recycling with a new bag-in-bag packaging concept. The patented solution has been created for the food and pet food sectors and makes recycling easier for consumers by combining the attributes of flexible film and paper with a technology that ensures easy separation of the materials. There is no apparent compromise in terms of product safety and visibility. The bag-in-bag initiative incorporates an inner layer that has a strong barrier properties to protect the contents alongside an outer layer made of paper, reducing dependence on plastic. After use, the bag's two components can be reportedly easily separated via a simple air tape. This is from Italian corrugated packaging experts, Botta Packaging, and they have provided a plastic-reduced solution for Italian supermarket chain Esselunga. The new pack sees the substitution of bubble wrap with a paper-based alternative. The Botta Eco envelope has been lined with corrugated paper to help protect products for online deliveries. This is specifically for the e-commerce channel, and as I said at the beginning, we're seeing a significant sort of uplift really in recent months in the e-commerce channel. The solution delivers the same required protection, resistance, and functionality that plastic bubble wraps gives to protect products such as glass bottles and eggs through the journey from distribution centre to consumers' homes. Botta's packaging motivations for the switch centres on the increasingly dissatisfaction and annoyance that some consumers have with the widespread use of bubble wrap in e-commerce packaging. Now, ECOS makes more sustainable laundry detergents and cleaners for its domestic US market, and the Chicago-based cleaning brand has announced the introduction of a new refill solution that includes a patented click-in design to improve user experience. Their mother and child ECOS refill kit system has been designed to be both easy to use and space-saving, as well as reducing single-use packaging usage. The new system incorporates a refill bottle designed that is easy to pour, combined with a smaller bottle that's comfortable for one-handed usage. Both bottles snap together through a patented technology, helping to make it compact and handy to store between uses. This click-in system also reduces plastic use as it requires no shrink wrap to hold the bottle together. The new refill system provides the equivalent volume of 5 containers in one kit, with a significant reduction, obviously, in the amount of bottle plastic compared to those 5 individual containers. So that's available, I think, in the Whole Foods market across the United States. Now, I mentioned at the beginning about the refill market, and another one from Nestle here. Quite difficult to implement this particular initiative during sort of COVID-19 lockdown circumstances, but Nestle have done a trial. They're testing the reusable, refillable dispensers as part of a wider trend over the last 12 months or so ago, as I mentioned. The majority of these are really small pilots rather than extensive and permanent rollouts. as really brands and retailers sort of test the consumer take-up as well as operational logistics of such an exercise. So Nestlé have been piloting reusable and refillable in-store dispensers for their instant coffee as well as pet food in 3 Nestlé shops located in Switzerland. So consumers can bring their own reusable containers to buy different Purina cat food and Nescafe coffee variants. It's quite digital as well, so product information such as ingredients, nutritional values and shelf life is typically found on the packaging is accessible, as well as full traceability of the product. So Nestlé have worked with MIWA, so minimal waste, on the systems, and they're a Czech company, and we've previously tracked them as working in this space. Another Nestlé initiative, busy this month. So this is obviously the sort of the coffee capsule market has been under a lot of pressure in terms of perceived lack of sustainability. And I think last month we tracked a paper-based recyclable coffee capsule. In this case, what they're doing is making the coffee capsules out of 80% recycled aluminium, and is seen as a significant milestone for the industry. Recycled aluminium requires less energy to produce than virgin material, which is seen as optimal to protect the freshness and aromas of the coffee. So the new capsules are produced using nearly 10% less aluminium material overall, and it's also 8% lighter. The launch follows the introduction of machine boxes in fully recyclable packaging made of 95% recycled material. Now, Toothpaste, as a German packaging company, have also been on the innovation trail. This is an initiative that reduces the amount of plastic in the packaging. The PP solutions have been designed to eliminate the need for a bottom tray and have been designed to be more recyclable. You may have seen similar initiatives in supermarkets. We're just reflecting an additional initiative in this area. So the ThePackHub pure PP film achieves material savings of 60% compared to the tray packaging it replaces. This translates to a 1 kilogram pack of minced meat weighing just 9.5 grams. And the solutions preserve the typical shape and consistency of the minced meat, so the consumer shouldn't see any difference in terms of the pack presentation. So just a few more now. It's been widely reported just everywhere you look that around 1/3 of all food around the world is wasted annually. Many initiatives have been put in place to try and reduce this ominous figure, and we're consistently reporting that obviously in the innovation zone. This is an initiative from MIT, so Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that is a collaboration that is developing a new approach to reduce food waste through the extension of product shelf life. The research team is using silk to develop products that extend the shelf life of a variety of perishable foods such as whole and produce, meats and fish. The breakthrough came serendipitously when researchers stumbled upon a novel use for silk when preparing for an unrelated experiment. The silk-tipped strawberries that they were experimenting on were still edible a week after the experiment ended, so they thought they might be onto something. They developed a Massachusetts-based business has been sort of formed to help utilise a technology called Cambridge Crops. And the organisation employs this proprietary process using only water and salt to isolate and reform the silk's natural protein, making the coatings easy to integrate into existing food processing lines. Once deposited on the surface of food, the imperceptible silk coating forms a tasteless and odourless barrier that slows down the food's natural degradation, increasing shelf life in some instances by up to 200%. Now, again, this is very much in the development stage, but if they can deliver on some of their alleged promises, then that would be a significant packaging development in future years. I think we've just got 3 more left now. So this is an interesting one from the Greek market. Not all innovations need to be from big brands and big retailers. with projects. So this is from AgriFarm, which is a local agricultural group crop business. Everything is cultivated in farming areas around central Greece. The initiative has seen the development of a distinctive new pack that very much looks like an old pack that introduces an alternative, more environmentally perceived solution that very much draws inspiration from the past. The packaging is similar in look and feel to the ones traditionally used in the Greek market to store pasta and vegetables. AgriFarm's packaging consists of 100% cotton bag material that is free of plastic. The traditional looking packaging is a departure from a sector that has grown to have a predominance of plastic. So this is available in the UK, France, the US and Canada, and in selected supermarket chains and delis in Greece. So it's a really distinctive, very different, anti-modern pack, which is worthy of acknowledgement. Now, Henkel are no strangers to the innovation zone, and their adhesives and coatings arm have announced the introduction of a heat seal coating that paves the way for PE to be replaced by recyclable paper. The design increases recyclability with a newly launched heat seal coating certified as recyclable with paper. The coating heat seals to both paper in itself, and the innovation is compatible with any type of ink. We've seen quite a few toilet brands going down the recyclable paper route for plastic. So the last of the 20 innovations to report on today is from Mondelez, and they've announced, you may have seen this actually in the packaging press, the introduction of a recycling innovation for their rather iconic cream cheese brand Philadelphia, which is sold across Europe. The brand will utilise recycled plastic containers using recycled material from a new advanced recycling technology that sees plastic material recovered following a very global partnership with Saudi multinational chemical manufacturing company SABIC. The change is seen as a significant step in Mondelez's goal to use 5% recycled content across all its plastic packaging. Recovering and diverting waste that would have otherwise been sent to landfill and incineration, moving towards a circular economy model. This chemical recycling process is able to recycle mixed plastic waste that would have otherwise been destined for landfill or incineration. Unlike mechanical recycling, the process removes all contaminants, including ink and colorants, to return the plastic to a quality imperceptible from virgin material suitable for, obviously, for direct food contact. So a very interesting development there, which we will watch the progress with interest. So those are the 20 innovations. We have just one more poll that we would like to share with you, which is generally around packaging innovations. We're really interested to get your views on what will be the biggest innovation growth areas over the next 12 months. So the options are increased recyclability, refillable, plastic reduction. Yeah, I think you can vote for more than one here. So these examples include non-sustainable innovations, such as added functionality, for example, and shelf standout. Just really keen to get your views here. Looks like it's a double header between increasing recyclability and plastic reduction elimination, with carbon footprint reduction also being of importance. 20% of you think that compostable and biodegradable packaging will be one of the biggest innovation growth areas. Added functionality and shelf standout, not traditional sustainable initiatives, are quite low down the pecking order there. So the majority of you have voted, so let's share those results. And I'm not entirely sure if you can see these, so I think I've read them out. So 2/3 think increasing recyclability, half think plastic reduction. And again, as I said, we will share these results when it's time to send out all the information from this webinar. In summary, so the summary isn't a million miles away from what we discussed last month. So sustainability will continue to be a major focus, but we are certainly have noticed fewer innovations come into market at the moment. We are confident that it's just a COVID-19 consequence, and the appetite, the necessity to increase and improve sustainability will continue. Recycling is a massive area and driven by both legislative necessity and looming brand and retailer deadlines to commit to certain recycling goals. We will see more carbon reduction coming through with maybe at the consequence of plastic elimination, but plastic elimination and reduction is still going to be significant. Compostable biodegradable will get more mainstream allocations. As I said at the beginning, this tends to be from challenger brands, but we believe that there will also be some bigger players coming through in due course. And the refillable and reusable market will continue to expand quickly. It's obviously having some short-term impact due to COVID-19. So there we go. So Barry, are you online? Are you able to share some of the questions, please?
Yes, good morning. Hi, Paul. Yeah, I think there's a couple of things we just need to reaffirm that there was a couple of questions about whether some of the ideas that were shared today were truly sustainable, whether they would affect the recycling stream, whether the claims being made were accurate or not. We just need to reaffirm that we don't actually make any comments about whether we think all ideas are good ideas or bad ideas. We are reflecting what is coming to the market and what is being claimed. So if you feel that something is a bit of a greenwash, it really is a reflection on what is coming out and what people are claiming. It is not our claims about the pack, it's the claims of the producers of the packaging or the brand owners. So we agree with a lot of the comments about whether things are good ideas or not, because some of it we would consider to be greenwash and not necessarily a sustainable idea, but this is what is being put into the marketplace. Unfortunately, Paul, there's a little bit of breakup on your audio at times, and there were some specific questions. Okay. The corrugated pack from Italy, who was the supplier for that?
I think it was Bolla Packaging, B-O-L-L-A from memory, Bolla Packaging. I think that's who they were.
Will people get all the notes?
Yes. I'm just going to go back to that particular one. That's the one you were talking about, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Botta Packaging. Sorry, B-O-T-T-A.
Okay, and also there was another specific question about the Philadelphia pack. Who was the chemical company that we're working with on that?
So that is Berry Global, working with, they're a massive Saudi chemical manufacturing company, SABIC, S-A-B-I-C. So if you want more information, there's been quite a lot of coverage in the press about this, quite significant. You know, when you have a chemical recycling initiative come to market, then let's get some good coverage. So, there will be information as part of the outputs of this. More information in our innovation zone, which are more than happy to subscribe to, or our reports. But again, as I said, there is more information just freely available via a couple of Google searches.
We do actually have somebody from Berry online, so they've just put up their name if anybody wants any more advice on that. Okay. Also, the name of the Greek firm. Someone just anticipated my next question to you, Paul. I think it was Susan. Can you just reconfirm who the Greek firm was, please?
Oh, this one here. Yes, it must be. That's the only Greek innovation we got. Yeah. So we're not aware of who is behind because we're looking at publicly available information, so we don't always know who is behind it from a supplier point of view. What we do know is the initiative comes from AgriFarm, A-G-R-I Farm. So we found this through one of our methods is Google Translate. So this is actually from a Greek publication. So nobody else would have, certainly in the UK, would have necessarily tracked this in the same way. So we found this through through a Greek publication. So there's no information actually, unfortunately, on the supplier. I could do a bit more less research to find out a little bit more, but the initiative is Agri Farm, AGRI Farm.
Just to confirm, with the slides that go out after this, all the notes that you have will go with the slides as well, won't they?
Not necessarily. I mean, I can. I think the best thing to do is for anyone that has any specific questions, reply back to me. Then I can help them uncover a little bit more rather than do a series of notes. Because obviously, the video is what you see now.
The other very detailed question was about carbon footprint and whether we feel there's been any advances in the measurement of carbon footprint and making it easier for companies to do, as it's still seen as quite a complex and full of sort of all sorts of minefields in trying to get an accurate answer on carbon footprint. Any news on that area, Paul? That you
I totally agree with you, Barry. And it's a minefield. And when you see a new innovation launched and there's no mention of carbon footprint, then you know that that may not suit their agenda. I mean, I mentioned one of the innovations that claimed to be the best carbon footprint in their sector, and then as I was saying it made me think, well, how do they know what the carbon footprint of comparable products are if they can't have done an LCA of competitive products necessarily? So it is a minefield. It is getting better. I don't think there is enough openness about life cycle analysis, and it certainly isn't being used enough publicly. But as I said, as part of our summary, I think that carbon footprint will become more prominent, and I'm hoping that there'll be more transparency in this area. But it's certainly not an ideal situation, and you can it's not hard to prove a certain angle if you want to do that. I think at the moment still a little bit.
Yeah, and there's been a comment just come in about there's very little agreement about the methodology and how to go about it. And I think that's one of the real problems, is that there's still conflicting views on how to do carbon footprints and LCAs, and it's a minefield for anybody to make any comments on that.
Yeah.
I think that's covered the majority of the topics that were asked for in the questions. Okay. Just one thing, when people are asking questions, there's a button you can click to either ask the panelists or everybody. If it's an open question, we would prefer you to ask everybody and use the experience of everybody on the call. And just make sure, I know for some people it kept flicking back to just asking panelists rather than asking panelists and attendees, but you're more likely to get the pooled wisdom of everybody online if you ask the attendees as well. So just make a note that can happen. It can just ask the panelists, which is not the best way to get an answer, if I'm honest.
Right, thank you, Barry. Right, two last slides. So just to say that our Sustainable Packaging Compendium is available. We are offering just a PDF version, which means we can significantly reduce the cost of that, just $2.99. And if you order, because it's all online, you can pretty much get that over 500 innovations in your hands almost immediately. So that's available, and sending information on that as part of the outputs. And just to say that our next webinar, Sustainable Packaging Review, will be so this time in 4 weeks, of Friday the 10th of July at 10 a.m. This time, and also we're doing one at 1 p.m, which is equivalent to 6 p.m. UK time. So thank you all very much for attending. I hope you enjoyed it. As I say, we'll get the outputs out to you shortly, and thank you for your time, and have a good weekend. Thank you.